Hello everyone, welcome to Thursday Live. I'm Steve Leahy. Hope your week is going well, even though I said in the chat, hope your week is going well. There is, again, like every week, there's a lot going on here, so we're going to go into a few things as we go along. Today, there isn't too much show and tell, and I thought I'd pull one of the older paintings out that I started and never finished, and that's actually going to be part of what we're going to be talking about today too. So I hope you're doing well. Yeah, we're going to get things set up and just kind of jump right into it. So let me go to this one here. Yeah, that'll be good. And we'll say hello to everyone as they're coming in. I'll do show and tell in a bit once we get started. I think that'll be a good idea. What else? I don't know. I think that's what we got. So we're doing good. All right, so this painting that we're going to be kind of messing around with today is one that I've had. I started this one back in December of 23. So this one's been hanging around for a while. It started out as kind of a pseudo demo for Facebook, but it's also a painting that I really wanted to do. So what it is let me show you the. Actually, I can show you the photograph. It might be easier. But what it is it's just this really foggy landscape of Plymouth Harbor in Massachusetts. I took this photograph when the weekend my son got married, and it was an intense weekend because not only did my son get married that weekend, my dad passed away that same weekend. We knew it was coming. It was it was in the works, but the timing was just both good and bad. It was a day of celebration on Saturday, and then my dad passed away on Sunday. The upside was that had waited till after the wedding, and everyone was there. So that was really good. Yeah. So we're gonna mess around with this today. Let me show you what it looks like first. Hold on. So let's see. Yeah, I do have a picture of the comp. So here's what the painting is ultimately going to look like. And what I really loved about this, we walked down to the harbor from where we were staying, and it was kind of a misty morning, but the rocks, obviously when you're right up close to it, everything is right there and in focus and clear. But the ships just kind of vanished into the harbor. So that was really kind of a neat thing. It was all, like I said, it was also a very emotional weekend. So this quiet moment before everything really happened with the wedding was something that meant a lot to me. So I knew I wanted to kind of get this painted. It's a challenge because of the things like the fog and the detail that's in there, or partial detail. So it's deceivingly complex, So that's kind of what we got going on with this one. All right. So let me switch back to. Let's go to this one for a second while I try to figure out what we're going to be working on. Because again, I haven't touched this painting in. Yeah, we're going to need a lens anyway. I haven't touched this painting in a while, and that's something that it's got me thinking about a lot of different things. I'm just over here swapping out the lens while we're doing this. I love what I do. I really, really do. And every year I kind of go through things, what's good, what's bad, what's working, what's not working, that kind of thing. And last couple of years, what I wanted to do was really kind of get a stranglehold on all the social stuff like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and so that was kind of the drive for everything, and it really worked out great. I kind of accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with all that stuff, and now I can just kind of run with it and let it grow. So now what I'm looking at is, I think, coming into 25. Sorry, still adjusting here, but it'll be worth it because you'll be able to get to see the whole thing. One of the things I know I want to do in 25 is not have this happen right here, where a painting sits around for 2 years. That's especially a major painting. Like this isn't something fast. This isn't something that, I'll bang out in a weekend. It's important to me, and what I find is, as I was kind of really focusing on getting everything else up and running, I was letting some of the major pieces hang around, and you saw that in in the Ford painting as well. JC, what's up, buddy? Good. So speaking of the Ford painting, the pickup painting, this one here is all finished. It's all done. And this painting hung around for way longer than it should have. This is essentially in the same series as the Harley painting, the one I did the open studio of. It's got equal amounts of detail, took me the same amount of time, hour-wise, same effort. It's just a major painting, but this took years to get done. And that bugs me. I don't want that. So now that the whole social thing is set up, I like what I've got going on with the content on YouTube and Facebook. I want to start concentrating on getting these major paintings done, and that's going to be the push. So you guys kind of get the Dan, what's up? So you guys kind of get the preview of what's coming in 25. Now I say in 25, but it's really, I'm going to start making changes very quickly. And we're going to close out the year kind of with a new drive. So what you're going to see from me more of is these, I'll be working on a lot of these big time, heavy duty, lot going on type paintings and more frequently. Now, everything is in balance. If I push one thing, something else is not going to get the same kind of push. So what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing changes across what I'm doing as far as smaller pieces, specifically the 543 style art and the artwork that happens really fast and those things that I use for demos. You're going to see a pretty drastic reduction in that kind of stuff. Again, it's all give and take. So I'm pretty happy with kind of where my head's at with everything. Dean, what's happening? Dean, that's okay. And another thing I want to kind of mention, because I see it coming sooner than later, and very soon, or sooner than later, is this feed on Thursday is probably going to have to change. Dean just mentioned that I have this at 6 p.m. UK time. Brandon, what's up, buddy? So this feed may end up changing fairly rapidly. So to a slightly later UK time, and possibly or probably moving this to the weekend. Because again, the whole point is that I have that block of time to work on these things uninterrupted. The live feeds are great. I love them. Don't get me wrong, and I love doing them. But like right now, we're talking and I'm not painting, and so live feeds, no matter whether they're on Facebook or Instagram or here on YouTube, they do have a different dynamic. So that's kind of where my head's been at, and it's been good. So I will fill you guys in more as kind of I work out things. But in any event, this is how the Ford painting came out. It does have the UVLS on it already. Let me focus this. So this has the UVLS on it already. It's got UVLS satin. And once you get, this has about 4 or 5 coats on it. Once you get that satin on there, everything just kind of pulls together. I just love what the satin does to it. It still retains its brilliant color, but it gives it that just even sheen across the whole thing. So yeah, so I pretty much finished the whole, well no, this is done. What am I saying? It's not pretty much finished, this one's done. Yes, don't get in trouble, Dean. Oh my gosh, yeah, no kidding. We were nice last night, but it's brutal today. But again, it's nowhere near Georgia brutal. So yeah, JC, my sympathies go out to you. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, so I've already got the frame picked out for this one. It's actually the same frame as the Harley painting Generations, the open studio. So these two will share the same exact frame with the glass and the floating and the gold leaf and all that fun stuff. And then my plan for this also, which I kind of fell off again, which I shouldn't have, is to do more shows in 25, to do more gallery and museum shows. So this one I'm going to enter in the Butler show, the Butler Institute of American Art show, and they have a regional show, regional artists coming up. So I'm going to enter it in that and see how it does. But yeah, that's coming. Hell weather, yeah, no kidding. So yeah, I figured I'd show you that, and that's, yeah, ready to go. I'm super excited about that one. And again, hung around way too long, kids, way too long. All right. The other thing that happens with a painting when it hangs around too long is bad stuff happens to it. When I open this up, if you notice, this is the folder for it. I usually keep paintings in manila folders with the details on it and that kind of stuff. But if you look real carefully at this folder, it's got little speckles of coffee on it. Because my Keurig went nuts and ended up splashing coffee everywhere. So this painting actually got coffee on it too. I've already fixed it, but this is what happens when paintings hang around too long, and we don't want that. Fortunately, I don't know if you were here when I did this or when I was working on this originally, the background of this, the fog, essentially that background color, that is Autoborn Sealer, white, and then the adjusting colors, a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, that kind of thing. So I was able to just sand the coffee stains off. They weren't major, but still, because it was Autoborn Sealer back there, I didn't have to repaint anything. I just sanded it, which was nice. All right. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing on this today. I was working on, the ships. I'll probably finish them today, which will be fun, which means I'll have to put in the other lens anyway. But I think that's what we're doing. I think that's probably going to be the way to go, because I have all the cutouts for it, and this is kind of done the same way that I do a lot of the paintings, even the bigger ones. But with the bigger ones, what I'll do is I have this obviously filed, the whole file in Photoshop at the correct size. Instead of printing out 1,000,000 of the full-size copies, I'll just grab what I need, and that'll save a bunch of ink and save a bunch of paper. Essentially, the horizon line here, I had like 8 of these going across one page. So I think that, yeah, here, not 8, here we go, is 4, but here's what the page looked like with all the horizon lines on it. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's work on some of these misty boats. I think that'll be a good way to go. And the way a painting like this works is it's back to front. A lot of them, like if you guys were around yesterday for the Tokyo painting, that can go any way. Usually it's back to front, but for the most part it can be painted in any order. This one really needs to be back to front. So I'm doing all the horizon stuff. Then I did knock out this pier because it was part of the demo. But the last things to go in are going to be the rocks and everything. So the little wave ripples go in, and then the rocks and stuff. So if you have any questions, let me know. Dean, you're making me hungry. That's awesome. All right, and I missed you all on Tim's feed last night. I have this bad habit when I think too much, it disrupts my sleep. And again, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. And so that what happens is I end up getting up super early in the morning and I can't fall back asleep. And that's been happening since I really returned from Massachusetts. So it's been really screwing up my sleep schedule, which means I pass out super early. So, but I did watch it this morning, and yeah, it was a great feed. So hopefully Tim jumps on, because I have some things to mention about what he was talking about last night too. All right, switch back to this one for a second, because I got to put in the jumbo lens. This is a Canon. It's an EFS 60 millimeters macro lens, and people ask me about this one because it's what I use for all the really super close-up stuff. This was recommended to me by Tom Nguyen, the great airbrush artist, comic artist, and photographer. So this is the lens that does it. It's a killer lens. So let's swap out the standard lens, which I thought I was going to use, but I'm not, because you guys got to be in here. There we go. There we go. what did I do with? Oh, put it in the wrong spot. I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. Now we're good. So we should be back with the jumbo lens now. So let's pick some of these boats, and I'll show you kind of what I was doing these boats over here. Let me get this lined up so you guys can get right in there with me. I've never done a painting like this where it's, you know, super foggy. So this was a nice this is a nice challenge. It's hard to focus because I can't see it. All right. So basically, these little ships or these little boats in the harbor are really, really like, you know, just about in the fog. But this will be fun to kind of put them in. All right, good. And I'll try to keep an eye on the comments too. If you're from the U.S., you know, Plymouth is a popular tourist spot. It's where Plymouth Rock is, where the Pilgrims were supposedly had landed, although there is great controversy about exactly where, but they have a rock commemorating it. It's not very impressive. If you've ever been there, you know, you think, you know, it'd be something crazy and elaborate, but it is not. In fact, I love seeing people's reaction when they do see it, because it's like, wait, that's it? And I'm like, yep, that's it. Let's get this really focused. It's so hard to focus on this. All right, there we go. And let's turn this on to get this lined up here. This way you can see what's going on with the wet palette. So the trick here is, Tim actually talked about it last night. When you have a painting that's not quite monochromatic, but all the colors are kind of squished together, value and the chroma wise, you have a very compressed painting, you know, very compressed palette. This, because of the nature of what's going on here, is just that. Everything is really within the same range, and if you deviate from that, it throws things off. It makes things look, you know, like they just pop out like they shouldn't. So I really got to be careful to kind of keep everything right there. So what I got here is I got a little bit of daylight blue, some white and black, and by the looks of this, I'm pretty sure that's what I was using. Again, this is why this is a problem for me, that I wait so long between working on these paintings, because then I forget what I was doing, and that's no good. So let's pick a boat. Pick a boat, any boat. I don't know. Let's go with this one right here. First off, you know what I'm going to do? So I make sure I'm focused, because this is really weird. Let me grab a piece of text here. This is my Gerald print here. So focus in on the Gerald letters, and then that should be in focus now. Good. I wish I thought of that. All right. We're going to try daylight blue, see how it works. Basically what's going on, actually, should we do that boat? This boat is the boat I want. No, this boat. I don't really think it matters, so I don't know why I'm thinking about it so much. Let's, I need to be able to see this thing. Okay. Yeah, let's, this one's got, this one here, no, this one here, believe it or not, has more going on with it. So let's do this one. So what I need to do first is I need to pull out that the bottom of it, because all I have here is an indication of the darkest areas, which is the the top of the boat, and then the cabin on top. So I'm going to grab some white to start to kind of get in the bottom of this boat. A little bit of that daylight blue and a little bit of black. I'm going to see if that's going to be the color here. It already looks like it is, I think. If not, what I would have added on this particular one is probably, well, it's definitely not phthalo blue. Might be blue violet, but we'll figure it out. There's a lot of purple in this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hull of the boat in first. So this is pretty thin, and again, I want to kind of sneak up on this. If I drop just plain old white in on this, then it's going to immediately pop out. And again, I don't want that. I really want to keep this back line really compressed. You know what I mean? And I've already finished some of these boats, like this guy right here. So I can use that as kind of a guide too. I really like the way that boat came out. So, so we're going to use that as a guide. The difference between the sky and the actual horizon, the water, is extremely subtle. That fog, really wanted to make it feel like that fog was just kind of right on the edge of breaking. And it's pretty, this is kind of marine layer fog, so I remember the day because it was my son's wedding. This was the Friday, right before the wedding, day before, and all this burned off. It was a beautiful day, and it was pretty nice. But yeah, if you want a quick shot of New England tourism, Plymouth is a good place to go. It's right on the, obviously it's on the coast. A lot of great restaurants there. They have a reconstruction of the Mayflower, the ship. What else? There's good music there too. If you're done with it, you are about halfway between Boston and Cape Cod. So you can go there, hang out for half a day, and then keep going somewhere. So it's not like it's some crazy trip out of the way to get to. This is feeling kind of greenish to me. I know it might be tough to see. So that might be the, so daylight blue might not have been the blue I used. I'm going to try to think like Steve for a second. So cobalt would have been the other one, although it seems kind of purpley for cobalt, but I'm going to put a drop of cobalt out and mess with that too. There we go. So this is cobalt blue. It's much more of almost like a primary blue. It's cooler than daylight blue. And I think we have a winner. I think that's what I used. It's pretty standard. Like, we talked about, artists kind of gravitating towards a palette, like a palette of colors. And I definitely do that. And I do it out of just being familiar with the colors. Like, I know what I'm going to get out of them. And it's easier to kind of use another color or use a color that I'm familiar with and push it around than to try to, grab a new, like for instance, grabbing a blue that I'm not as familiar with, and I end up having to spend more time pushing it around to get it to do what I want than where, like a color like phthalo blue, which I use a lot, I know exactly what it's going to do. So that's the reason why I generally tend to stick to a specific palette of colors. Like, I won't really grab like all the colors. Let's see, do I want to add a little bit of no, I was going to add a little bit of black to it, but I'm not going to. I want it a little bit brighter now because I've already got a layer of white on this. So really what I'm doing is I'm just kind of knocking out that green. Now, is this wrong too? Yeah, this is wrong too. All right. This is why we do it, because so then it's got to be violet. Yeah. So now what's happened is, and again, I know this is extremely difficult to see, but if you look at the white in this one, it's got that purpley kind of white color, where this boat here has got that greenish white color. At the end of the day, I could just leave it and, it'd be fine. It's more of a green hull, but that's not what I want. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut my losses here, and I'm going to kind of delete that color altogether. So I'm going to grab a little bit more white so I know I've got a good, strong, opaque white. Next thing I'm going to grab is a little bit of blue violet. I don't think I used blue violet though. I mean, I could have. Red violet. I literally just had it. Detail violet. Cerulean is not what I want. Blue violet. Okay, blue violet should be okay. Yeah, looks pretty good. This one up here is blue violet, and if I pull this out, see it. Although I'm not really sold on that either. See what that looks like. Maybe. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so I've got a lot of it paletted in the brush now, because I am going to have to like erase this essentially, just go over it till this new color takes its place. And if it doesn't work, which it is not, I'm going to go over it with white first. So I'm going to take pure white and just, like I said, erase that green color that's underneath. Now this is going to stand out way too much, and that's fine. Again, my concern, my goal for this is to eliminate that seafoam green color that I had on there before. And I can adjust this white. I can dump it down a little bit and you'll see that happen. Here we go. That's good. And while I'm waiting, I have to let that dry now because I can't, put anything on it. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab a little bit of this new grayish blue, add a little bit of black to it. And while I'm waiting for this to dry, I can do the hull of this boat here. And this is good because now I can test this color, see if this is right. And it looks good already, so I'm happy with that. Incidentally, you guys are my art family, and because you're on a live stream with me, you get news early because I can't keep my mouth shut, which is fun. I talked to Spray Gunner last night, and they're going to have a few of the Gerald Mendez prints, the painting I did for Gerald, and we talked a little bit. They don't do art sales, like they don't do prints and stuff, so they're not sure how they're going to kind of utilize those, but they're going to grab some of them, and so you'll either be able to get them there, but they might do something fun with them too. So I'm excited. Those go out today. You can also get those prints from Coast Airbrush. You can get them from Donna up in Maple, Donna at Maple Airbrush. You can get them right from my site too. So, this is too blue, which is fine. I don't mind that. As it dries, it's darkening and it's disappearing, which is totally fine. It's the right color. It's just too dark, so I'm just going to add a bunch of white to it. Okay, one other thing that I want to throw out there while I'm doing this. That should be almost dry now. I posted today that the window is closing on picking up the Grand Canyon razor blade painting and the Boston painting. If you are interested in either one of those paintings, now is the absolute time to do that, because what's going to be happening coming up is not only are those going to go back to their regular price, their full price, all the sale prices that are on the site are going to go back to their regular prices. So the sales are all going to be done. I foresee in the future, near future, that the only sale discount type of deals that people are going to get are members here. So if you're a member on YouTube, you get a 10% discount, and you get that code that's good on everything. and Patreon. So other than that, I think that is going to be the extent of sales moving forward, which is good too. So again, if you're looking for that special painting, now is the time. All right. Yeah, that's good. See how this one brightened up a little bit? I got to wait for that to dry, because if it's not dry, I'll just keep going over it. But that's a whole lot closer to that than that is. So that's perfect. That's what we want. Since I'm doing it, I did the cabin of this little boat out here. There's a couple other ones that are kind of buried, but you can't really see the hull of any of them. This one you can a little bit, but not much. So we'll just drop that in. And then these guys over here, I don't know what's going on over here. What are these doing? Nothing. These guys you can barely see. So what you see is what you get there. So let's let that dry a little bit. And then we'll start to push that back. Easily the longest part of this painting is going to be the ripples in the water. It's just going to take a while to get that done. But it's going to be worth it. What can I do with this one while I'm waiting? I guess I can start putting in the details in that. So for the details, the darker details, it's just going to be gray. It's going to be this color, except a little bit darker. I don't want to pull from that color because I need it. So I'll just make it again over here, but just a little bit darker. So again, that was a little bit of black, a little bit of blue, and then, the blue-violet, and then the opaque white. It's kind of fun. Why did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. I needed it lighter than that. I wasn't even thinking. One of the things that's kind of relaxing in a way, working with a more compressed palette, a shorter palette, less colors, is that it makes decision making a little bit easier once you get those colors locked in. So that's kind of nice too. So we'll just mix up a few variants of this color. So I can do this right on the wet palette, have like 3 or 4 different versions of that just by pulling off of it. So now we'll try this one, the medium one first. This the details in which boat? This boat are pretty dark, so we'll start with this one. I can already see that I have more black. I use more black in the rest of these, but it's okay. And the details here are difficult to see. So now I do have an ace up my sleeve with this too. The ace is the airbrush, and as I'm putting these details in, I can hit them a little bit harder than they really are, because at the very end I can go over all these boats with a little bit of this background color and just kind of fade them all out together, details and all. So it's really kind of a neat thing. And I use this technique a lot with atmospheric perspective. Like I do all the detail in one of those little tiny cityscapes, and then I'll just lightly go over the whole thing, or especially the background, with the airbrush, and it just pulls everything together. You'll definitely see that with the Tokyo painting, because it was an overcast day, so I'm going to have to do that anyway. Lovely. This is just the right color. You would think this would be too light, but it is perfect. I thought I'd need to grab one of the really, one of the other steps of value that I have there, but this is really working out good. And I can darken up, like this guy right here. So this guy needs to be a little bit darker. I think it's a sailboat. You can just see the mast and the rolled up sail. And this color is working, so I'm gonna start using it on the other boats too. The other boats, they're farther in the distance, so it's really kind of obscured. You can just see little details. If you are a flat earther, none of these boats are near the horizon or go beyond the horizon, so we don't have to have that argument, which is good. That looks good. A little bit, just indications of details back here. So it just gives it a little, like I said, little something. And I think now this is dry. So now this one here, remember this one's too bright. So what I'm going to do, this color is working out great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the brush, put it in the reducer, let it soak up the reducer, and then just really like wash this out so I have a really thin version of that darker color. It's a real watery version of it. And now what I can do is I can go over that. Let me palette the brush a little bit better. I can go over that white and just tint it with the darker color. And I can just keep doing that. You have to let it dry. But as soon as it's dry, I can go over it again. Do this one too. And each time I go over it, it knocks it down one step. You know, gets it closer to the other ones. So I'll let that dry, and I'll keep going. Incidentally, like I said, there is a extremely good chance that Thursday is going to be moved to the weekend. And if that's the case, I will poll my UK friends again to find out what time is good for them on Sunday. You know, maybe we can push it a little bit later, do like 3 o'clock Eastern Standard and have it be 8 o'clock, you know, Greenwich Mean Time. But like I said, that will have to happen as we go. That's enough time on this one. I can hit it again. I can also use that for the shading underneath, and I think that's going to be good right there. That's probably too much, so that's fine. We'll leave it there. It works. Okay. So we just got to resolve these other little ones that are in the back here that are like way far away. These guys right here. And those I'm going to use a lighter version of this because this is going to be too dark for that. And of course, you know, the wet palette is beautiful because this is still wet, obviously, so I can just kind of make up a new color with it. If this was a glass palette like I used to use, I'd have to remix this color again to make a lighter version of it, which is a pain in the butt. All right, so these really don't have very much detail in them. They're just kind of an indication of something back there. Same thing with this guy here. It's got a little something. And then this guy you can barely even see. All right, so that's good. All right, so the next step, you would think the next step would be to kind of do what I said, to go over all these ships or boats with that, you know, that violet color to kind of blend them all in. However, there's some, you know, little ripples in the water here that look like they're getting close to the boats before you kind of lose track of them. So I want to kind of get those ripples in before I just, you know, kind of fade over all this. So I don't want to fade over this and then do the ripples and then have to fade over the ripples too. Lose too much of it. We just kind of want a one and done. So let me see what I'm dealing with here. Yeah, I should just pull these ripples all the way across. What's weird about these ripples is they look like I used just opaque black to do this, which is very odd. It's very odd indeed. But I already started them, so I can't really like change them up now without erasing them. And yeah, I did. I used opaque black. Why did I do that? The reason why I'm questioning myself is opaque black has this kind of brownish cast when it's put on a cooler color. Well, I'd rather have had like a bluish cast on these. Weird. And I've already done all of this, so I can't really, I mean, I could kind of change gears a bit, but I really want to. The reason why is this, so the color photocopy, let me switch to this camera. This is just a color photocopy, it's pretty crappy. It's just for more detail than color. But even this, yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but this has a much greener, bluish cast to it than what I was going for. The original photo is much cooler color, so but I do want to introduce some of that blue. So let's Well, first, let's move this out because you don't need to be like mega close like you are. Because you need to see the waves. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I should have done that. Not in that camera, but that works. So people need to get the sale while it's up and ready. Yes. Yeah, so anything that's on sale right now, there's a couple, there's a couple of the paintings are still discounted. Like the little skull painting that I did, that's still discounted. So basically, the end of the week, the beginning of next week, all the sales are going to be taken off all the paintings. So if you're looking for something, yeah, like I said, now is definitely the time. The 543s are going to stay at $100 right now, but what I see happening, because the 543s take me to do 5 of them for the week, for the Monday, takes me an entire day to do, and there has been waning interest in the 543s as of late. So, I'm all about a win-win. So if people are kind of getting, fatigued with those, I can also see moving down to only doing 3 a week, which will still be a lot of fun. We'll still give one away. We'll still do all that, but knocking it down to 3 will be a big deal for what's going on around here. I can definitely see that happening as well. Absolutely, positively, the commission work is getting almost entirely cut out. So right now there's a portrait item on the site. If you wanted a black and white portrait, that's on the site. That's coming down. 543 commissions are no longer going to be a thing. So the focus really is going to be to kind of be on these bigger paintings, while keeping everything else rolling, everything we're doing. I want to keep all that rolling. All right, back to this. Well, the first thing is, can I adjust what I've already done? That's going to be the first question, because if I can add a little bit more blue to that, I would like to. So we're going to stick with this color combo because it seems to be working. So we'll grab a little bit of a fresher blue, a little bit more blue, and a little bit of black, and see what we can come up with. All right, let's see what this does. So first thing I'm going to do is in this area where the, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to darken this a little bit too, because if I darken it, there'll be more contrast and you'll be able to see what's kind of going on a little bit better. I need my letters again. Oh, the reason why, I had this out. This is the print I was just talking about. I pulled the prints for spray gunner, so I'm going to send those out today. But if you are interested in this print, again, you can get that on the site, or you should be able to get that from spray gunner in some form or another at some point. But you can also, like I said, get it from Coast. If you're up in Canada, you don't have to pay all the customs and duties. You can get it right from Donna at Maple. Midwest Airbrush had them, but they ended up not wanting them. This is the same color. We're good. Okay. Yeah, Midwest doesn't stock them anymore, but Coast does, and Donna does, which is fun. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to throw this in here and see if, yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Neat. Okay. Well, it's not as bad as I thought. There is no way to do this other than to just do it, which means like I got to put all these like kind of little ripples in here. It was very calm. Like I said, this is the ocean. There was no waves or anything. It was just kind of what was going on in the harbor, or as we say in New England, the harbor. So there's just these little wavelets, these little ripples in the water, and that was it. So what I need to do is these kind of come in. I'll show you this view. These kind of come in at an angle, kind of like this, a soft, like diagonal angle. So I got to kind of keep that in mind as I'm doing this. Basically what I'm doing is this strip right in here, this area right in here, because as it gets lower, actually switches over. Let me show you. You can see it goes from little dark ripples on the light water to dark water and then the lighter ripples. So which is going to be a whole other thing to get done. Ron, what's up, buddy? Hey, Enzo, what's happening? South Carolina. Love it. Love it. I still don't know how Tim does it. I still don't know how Tim memorizes everyone's location. It's pretty cool. All right, so when I have something like this where I need to kind of follow a direction, I'll jump back to this camera. There are a couple ways that you can that I can do this. Because if I just leave it to myself, what I'm going to end up doing is following the horizon because I can see it out of my peripheral vision and it's just an easy thing to kind of latch onto. But what I really need to do is have that slight downward, kind of movement. So there are a couple ways to do it. I can use a piece of, well, let me show you. Let me grab one here as soon as I can find one. Did I move them all? I did. Well, that's a bummer. I was going to grab some fine line tape. So one thing I do is I'll just take a piece of fine line tape and just lightly just kind of tack it. Not even on the painting, just on either side. I got a roll here. I'll just open it. Hold on. Oy. This is thicker fine line tape. So I'm not going to leave this on here, but I would use real thin stuff. This is like 1/4 inch stuff. This is pretty heavy duty. But the thin one is the one to go with. So all I do is just grab this, and this is nice because this kind of is movable. You can move it around, and if you're not, if you don't have too many delicate things going on your painting, you can just leave this on your painting. I can also take this and like rub it on my shirt to reduce some of the adhesion. But again, this is not really meant for anything other than just a guide. Now that I have this line visually, makes it a whole lot easier to kind of keep these lines going in the right direction. Like this. So now I can kind of pick a few to kind of get my head in the right spot. They can be really any size. I mean, as they get farther away, they get smaller. But for the most part, these are just like the guide. Like that. Same thing out here. These just kind of all blend into this. So now it's nice. My eye sees this tape line, and that's kind of, it makes it so much easier to kind of put these in the right way. There is perspective going on here too. So really, what's happening is you have the horizontal plane of the horizon, and then this kind of angle as the perspective happens. So so as I move to the top of this, I just got to kind of remember that and just angle them a little bit more horizontally as I get closer to the top. And for something super subtle like this, where these little ripples are kind of just hanging out in the water, this really gives me a good feeling of depth in this painting. So now that you get that idea, I'm just going to switch back to this because we're going to not need to do that. So now I've got a few in here. They're basically set it up. So now I kind of know where I'm going. I'm not going to really go into here because again the whole dynamic changes. So really what I want to do is just kind of get these little ripples in. These ripples are pointed at both ends, and if they're going to be curved at all, they'll be curved like a smiley face. So they're pointed at each end, and a good brush will do this for you. Let me grab a sheet here. There we go. So with a good brush like this one, or any pointed brush, will give you the same effect. Palette up some paint here. So you start, where am I at? There we go. So you start by just kind of touching the surface. It's really thin. As you kind of push that brush down, it gets thick, and then again you finish the stroke by just like pulling the brush off, and that gives you this little elongated OG shape, and that's what all the little ripples are out here. Once you get into it, once you start doing them and you do a million of them, then it becomes kind of second nature. but it is one of those like little technique things that you kind of got to work on in the beginning, and then it gets easier as you do them. You just get a feel for it, And again, if you guys have any questions, just shoot them out. This might be too thin. We'll see. Now the little wavelets disappear because of the fog, so it's really just this middle section that I'm dealing with, which is nice. I can also use this to kind of fix mistakes, like there is a chip taken out of the painting right here. You see that? No, you can't see that because I'm off the page. There we go. Yeah, it's a little white chip right here, so I can put a wave right there and fill it in. There's also a little dust, whatever there. Go over some of these other ones that I did originally, because that way they all kind of follow the same, have a little bit of the same color going on with them. I'll be kind of airbrushing into these lower ones too, so I'm not worried about, like this dark one right off the screen here, this dark one right here. I'm not worried about that because I'll be able to, as I get into the airbrushing, the little ripples in the front of this thing down the bottom where you can't see, those are all pretty much airbrushed. So at some point I'll have to blend them together, and yeah, that's how that's going to go. So my goal for today is to get this to the point where I can just kind of spray this over the background so you can kind of see what happens. So I'll put a bunch of these in, and then we'll get to the point where we can pull them all together. Yeah, this is good. This is a pretty good match for what's going on over here. What else is good about Plymouth? Yeah, it's just like I said, it's super touristy, but it's very compact. Like you park your car and then you just walk around, which is a blast. And like I said, the food is great. There's plenty of entertainment. You can definitely go and spend the whole day there. There is no beach or anything, so can't do that. The shoreline is very rocky, I mean, there is the beach where the rock is, but it's not really a beach. You can't go swimming or anything. But again, like if that's what you want to do, if you want to, go to the beach, you could hit Plymouth in the morning, do all the, the Plymouth Rock and the Mayflower. I didn't go on the Mayflower this year. I usually don't because it's super expensive to and you just walk around the boat. The reproduction, so I've done it before and didn't see the need to spend, I think it was $25 or something. But if you've never been on a boat like that, it's fun. And then the rock is free. You just go and look at it. It's like I said, it's not very exciting. It's more like a boulder, a broken boulder. The infinite wisdom of the folks at Plymouth decided that they didn't want it on the shore way back, so they decided to move it up to the center of town, which is up this big hill, and in doing so they ended up splitting it in half. So when they moved it back, the split is still in it. It's very embarrassing. Right. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, there's nothing going on way over here. It really does fade out here. I think the mist came in more over this side because you can't see much going on there. All right, so now the fun part. And this is bad Steve stuff. Hold on, let me grab it. So I was all excited when I pulled this painting out to do this painting for today. And I'll show you why in a second here. Let me grab it. Because I have the background color. This is the background color. And it's Autoborn Sealer, white, and blue. Like I don't know what blue BL is. So I was all excited when two reasons I became not excited. I saw the top of the bottle and I'm like, yay, I have the background. That's going to make things so much easier. And I even wrote it down, what it is. Problem is this is all dried out. It's a solid block of stuff in there. And then second, I didn't write down the mixture. So I don't even know what blue that is. So we don't have that to go by, which is kind of a bummer, but oh well. Switch to this one so I can move you guys back without taking you on the ride. And we'll give this a little hit. Again, this is going to be pretty subtle, but it is going to tie everything together. Let's run back. I need my letters. Give me something to write on. There we go. There we go. All right, so now to tie it all together. The good news is I don't need to find a perfect match for this color for what I'm going to use this for. I'm literally just going to kind of go over it really lightly. In fact, I could use just white on it and get away with it. I don't want to do that, but I could do that if I had to. So now knowing that blue violet is a pretty good match to what I did here, we're gonna use that. So what we'll do is we'll grab. I think the Micron C will be the brush to use for this. There's a bunch of green in there. Oh, the other thing too, I meant to mention. So the perks for being a member here are as follows. You will have the only standing discount on my site, which is a discount on everything. You can use it on anything, and it's always there. You can use it as many times as you like. And the other perk is you get to see the time-lapse Tuesday as soon as I finish it. So usually you get to see it a few days early, Friday or Saturday, which is fun. So you get to see one of the 543s before it is even a thing. And that's going to be a regular thing now. So I finished the 543 for the time-lapse. I just got to edit it and put it up, but you'll see that in the next couple days. So that's one of my thank yous for supporting what we do around here. All right, so I'm going to grab a little reducer, a little bit of 4050, because I want this transparent. I'm going to add a little bit of opaque white, but this is also reduced. And then once I have a good mixture of this, which looks pretty good right now, I'm just going to grab just a touch. Oops, you can't see it. How did that happen? There we go. Just a touch of the blue. Oh, that's beautiful. That might be it. I'm not even going to even add any black to it. That is the color. All right, I got to write that down. So it's blue violet that I used. All right, back to this. I would love to tell you you're going to see this, but you're not. It's going to be really, really subtle. So all this does now, I've got this in the brush, same color now, and all I'm going to do is just really, really lightly just go over those boats. And the way I'm doing this, so I can see what I'm doing, is I'm looking at this at an angle. And what I'm seeing is I can see the wet paint go down. And then once the wet paint goes down, then it's a little bit shiny and a little bit darker, where the wetness is of the paint, and then it disappears. So that's how I can tell what I've got on here. And I'm looking at it at a pretty extreme angle here. I'm kind of underneath the painting. So I just go over it a little bit along that horizon line and then stop and let it dry. And then lean back and take a look at it. What I also don't want to do is I don't want to get any of this on that pier either. So let's protect that. We could do that with just a piece of paper. Here we go. Just line that up like that. Drop a magnet on that just to keep it honest. That's fine. This just keeps any overspray off that last pylon, so I don't want any mist on that. And then once I get that kind of where I want it, I'm going to start dragging this down a little bit and kind of, putting that over these little ripples that are right along the edge here too. I'm keeping the airbrush pretty far back because I don't want to really, change the color of that. And I think that's going to be good right there. Just got to let that dry so I can see it. But yeah, I like that. So what that does is it just kind of ties all that together, and just makes it all look continuous. You don't have these little boats kind of popping out where they shouldn't now. That's perfect. It's also the reason why, that if I was slightly off on any of these, it doesn't overly matter, because that misting will kind of pull them all back together. All right, so I know that seems kind of, like if I showed you the painting before and we look at it now, you'd be like, okay, nothing happened, but you guys get a better idea what's going on now. There you go. All right, so I'm going to try to finish this. Like I said, this is going to be one of those ones that I got to get done now. I'm really going to try to work on this. And like I said, kind of finish, going through whatever, it looks like with the changes that are coming up, which is, switch to this one, which is pretty exciting. I am really excited about, kind of now that, all the online stuff is great and it's where I want it. I love Open Studio. I love the time lapse. I even more love that the Open Studio now is the premiere, so we actually get to hang out and talk while it's going. I love the way YouTube organizes stuff. You can find any of the paintings, any of the videos really easily. And then Facebook is Facebook, so we'll continue on as long as they play nice. If things go sideways with Facebook, again, I have YouTube to kind of catch the fallout. So that's good too. Yeah, so that's what we got. All right, so have a wonderful weekend. I think that's where we're going to stop for today. I'm going to jump back to the speaking of the 543s, I'm going to finish them up, get them ready for Monday. So if you're around on Facebook on Monday and you'd like to win one, just jump on Monday at 6 p.m. on Facebook and put in your suggestions, and you'll be in to win next week, the following week. So that's what I got. All right, kids. Well, thank you very much for hanging in. And as always, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. And yeah, I will catch you next week. Oh, you get to look at the picture, the actual photo. There it is. All right, have a great week, you guys.